Hi guys, happy November. I'm so excited to be doing my October reading wrap-up. This was a very strange month for me. I went to Ashland this month, did a cozy vlog. If you want to see my mystery festival vlog, I'll link it above. Also had some big things in my personal life that just weren't too fun this last month, so I did lean into cozies a lot this last month. This is definitely a more cozy heavy reading wrap up, but as always I will separate the video by genre so you can jump around to whatever you're most interested in. Let's go ahead and start with cozy mysteries. So for starters, I started a new cozy mystery series on audio and I am loving it and almost done with it. This is the Maple Syrup Farm mystery series and this is by Catherine Bruns. I read book 1, which is A Doomful of Sugar, and book 2, which is Syrup to No Good. I'm gonna read book 3 in November this month. I'm so excited because it's a Thanksgiving cozy, so it's perfect. Unfortunately, this is a 3 cozy curse. There's only 3 cozies in it. The premise of this is A Doomful of Sugar involves our main character coming back to her hometown in Vermont. Her family owns a maple syrup farm and you get to learn about the maple syrup harvesting process, which is really interesting. I had no idea. I love the complicated relationships between her and her mother and her brother. You get a lot of family dynamics going on. Basically, her father has passed away, left the farm to her, which was unexpected, and she's taking over and she doesn't know what she's doing. She's just kind of thrown into this and she starts to suspect that her father might have actually been murdered. That's kind of the premise for the start of the series. The second one involves a wedding. It's a very springy book 2, and book 3, like I said, is Thanksgiving. So I'm very excited for this. Book 1 was a fall cozy, so it was perfect. The maple syrup theme is so much fun. I was really surprised by the ending for I think both of these books, but especially book 1. The ending for that really stood out to me. Lots of interesting motives and red herrings and characters in this. And the setting is just what makes this for me. I mean, the maple syrup farm in Vermont, come on, it's gorgeous. So it's definitely like a 5-star series for me so far. I'm looking forward to, but also dreading finishing book 3 this month because it is the last one, unfortunately. But I really have enjoyed this series and it's a really, really good one. I love the narrator for it too. Another one that gave me a lot of joy this month was Snow Time to Die by Annie McEwen. This is book 3 in the Northwoods mystery series. And this is just lovely. This is a January wintry cozy. It takes place in the Wisconsin Northwoods, so I mean there is snow galore. This is one where again the setting really stands out to me. It is super seasonal and beautiful. The descriptions are gorgeous in this. I just love it. Emmy is our main character. She's an interior designer in the first book, but she comes back home where her parents run this lake cottage resort, and I love the theme for this. I love the Wisconsin Northwoods setting and I love the family lake cottage resort. It is so cozy. It's very heartwarming. It's very like cute small business you want to support. I love the family's relationship. Like her relationship with her parents is so endearing. And in this one, her old boss who fired her very dramatically actually comes back and ends up staying at her family's lake cottage resort, and unfortunately she is murdered, and that kicks off the mystery. I thought this was a really good mystery. I was really pleasantly surprised by the ending, and the settings and everything just really swept me away. I love the pets in this one. There's some cute dogs and a little cat that gets introduced here, and it's just a lovely series. I would so recommend it. I really had a good time with it. Another series that I've just been having the best time with is the Witch's Brew mystery series by Gretchen Rue. I read book 2 in September after reading book 1 like a year or 2 ago, and I really loved book 2. I was like, why have I not read the next book in this series? And I picked up book 3 from my library, The Grim Steeper, and got book 4 when I went to Ashland, and these are so phenomenal. I am so sad now because I'm caught up on the series and the next one I think is coming out next fall. So I am just like, what am I supposed to do with myself now? I love these so much. I just finished Earl Grey Tea. This one in particular is my favorite because of the theme. I mean, this one is lovely as well, but the theme for this, I mean, it's really hard to beat a Halloween cozy. Look at this cover. So the Grim Steeper actually takes place around and throughout the 4th of July celebrations, which I didn't realize from the cover, and that was a really fun addition. And in this one, our main character is Phoebe Winchester. She is a witch. She's late to discovering her powers. She only discovers them as an adult like a year ago when she came back after her aunt passed away, who was also a witch, and left her home and her business, which is like a bookshop tea shop combo. And she also has Bob the cat, who's one of my favorite cozy sidekicks. So love that. This one involves a bird watching author and expert who ends up getting murdered, and that kicks off a mystery. This one involves some actors and actresses who show up to the small town, and they're going to be putting on a production for Halloween, and the locals are actually going to be starring in And Then There Were None as well, as like a community project, which is really fun and seasonally on point. And in this one of the actresses is murdered, and Phoebe gets involved in this. She's developed a very interesting relationship with the police throughout the series, which I think is a really fun twist on your typical cozy amateur sleuth situation. And I loved this. This one was packed with so many Halloween vibes. I featured it in my Halloween reading vlog, which I will link above. It was perfect. Like the perfect Halloween read. There's just nothing I would change about it. I thought it was just fantastic, and I would recommend reading this series in order. There are a lot of subplots that are building upon each other throughout this, involving the town and Phoebe herself and her magic, so definitely read this one in order. I would say that's really important, but I couldn't recommend the series enough. I enjoyed book 1, but books 2, 3, and 4 have just blown my socks off this fall, and I'm so glad that I binge the rest of the series. A Latte Trouble by Cleo Coyle. This is book 3 in the Coffee Shop Mystery series. It is a fall cozy. It involves like Fashion Week. I listened to this very early in October, so I don't remember all the details at this point, but basically someone is poisoned in the main character Claire's like coffee house, and she and her like ex-husband, they have a very interesting relationship because they actually still like co-own the coffee shop, I want to say, and her like mother-in-law or ex-mother-in-law, Madame, is a very cool character. I really, really like her, but this one has some really interesting twists and turns. I was surprised by the ending. I don't know if it's like my favorite trope ever, but I was surprised by it, and there were some great fall vibes in this, and this is just a really great coffee house cozy. If you're looking for this one, everything about this is just inundated with coffee. So if you're looking for one that's very true to theme, I would really recommend this. This is the second book I've read in the series. I definitely plan on continuing it, and hopefully soon. A Brew for Chaos by Esme Addison. This book knocked my socks off. So I read this on my ebook reader. Had an ARC from NetGalley. I'm a little late to reading it, but it recently came out. This is the third in the Enchanted Bay mystery series, which I thought had ended, and I'm really excited to hear. I think what happened was, based on what I was hearing in Ashland, is the first 2 books were done by one publisher, and then it got picked up by a different publisher, which is why the covers and stuff have changed, and there was like a gap between publishing. So I believe more to come, which would be very exciting. Esme Addison is a great witchy writer, and this one actually involves a mermaid backstory, which I really love. What I love about Brew for Chaos is it's almost a little bit of sci-fi. At least this one in particular was. It's been a while since I've read the first 2 books, but we have our main character in this, Alexandra, and she is working at her like aunt's apothecary. Her aunt and her mom's side of the family are magical. They come from this line of like mermaids, so they have kind of like water related, mermaid related abilities, which is very cool and very different and unique for a cozy. I feel like a lot of cozies lean into more like witchy stuff, which is really fun, and obviously I've enjoyed, but I feel like the mermaid stuff is very interesting, and there's like a lot, she really incorporates history. Like it feels very built out as a world. The family is very interesting, and in this one there is talk of a serial killer and a cold case that's maybe happening again, or similar crimes are happening. The man was called the Fisherman, never caught, and in this one Alexandra gets involved trying to help her friend Pepper, who's a journalist in town, solve the case. And this one just went in some dark and deep directions. Still very much a cozy mystery, but definitely almost like a cozy fantasy cozy mystery. Like it's definitely very fantastical, but I enjoyed this so much, and the ending for this actually had me like tearing up. I was so emotional by the end of this book. It was so good. I really, really loved it. It's a very unique read for a cozy mystery, but I so recommend it if you are open to something a little more fantastical. This one is really great. It takes place in North Carolina, a gorgeous setting, and I just couldn't recommend it enough. I loved it. Now, one that I didn't love, and I am shocked, I'm shocked that I didn't love this, is Caught Dead-Handed by Carol J. Perry. I've had so many people recommend this to me, and I love Carol J. Perry's Haunted Haven mystery series, and my beef with this is not that the writing or the mystery wasn't great, but that this is very clearly, to me at least, advertised as a cozy, and this was not a cozy ending at all. Like this one needed, like this one should be, I think, marketed as like a supernatural kind of mystery, not a cozy mystery, because there was some dark stuff at the end of this. I was really surprised, and I did go on Goodreads after I read it and saw that other people had commented on this needing some trigger warnings or just being marketed differently. So if you've read more into the series, let me know. Are the rest of the books as dark as this? Because it's not that I mind a darker mystery, it's just that I mind when it's marketed as a cozy and it's not a cozy, because I'm going in with one thing in mind and then being shocked. So I listened to this one on audio. Our main character in this basically takes over this position as a TV psychic, and she's very much a disbeliever, although she might actually have psychic abilities. You'll find out. And in this one, basically the previous host had been murdered. She's a suspect. She gets involved trying to solve the crime, and I really liked the world building. I would have given this 4 stars had it not been for the ending, which was very dark and involved some like very heavy themes and some pretty graphic descriptions, which is why I was like, wow, okay. I definitely didn't see the ending coming as a result. I saw parts of it coming, which I didn't love. I didn't really love the trope they used at the ending. I don't want to give spoilers, so look it up if you want spoilers, but I try to always do spoiler-free reviews. I didn't love the trope for the end of this, which also affected my rating, but also just in general the content level for this was just way darker than expected. So I was really surprised. If you've read more in this, please let me know. Is the rest of the series truly like a cozy mystery series, or is it just book 1 that kind of was like really extra dark? I don't know. I just didn't gel with this mystery as much as I wanted. So I did give it 2 stars, which was primarily based, again, on it not being cozy. That's just a big pet peeve for me. If something is advertised as cozy and it ends up being like a really dark topic. So that's just where I kind of like stood it with this. If you go into this knowing it's a darker mystery and you like the theme, I think you'll have a really good time with it. But otherwise, yeah, it just wasn't for me at this point. The Perfectly Proper Paranormal Museum by Kirsten Weiss. I gave this 4 stars. This was our Patreon book club pick for October, and this was a really fun read. I had never actually heard of this one before it was brought up as a suggestion for the book club poll, and I'm really glad it was picked. Our main character in this is Maddie. Her career has flatlined. She returns to a small wine country hometown for the cheap rent and just an opportunity to kind of reinvent herself. There is a trio of friends at the center of this story, which is very interesting because they're not as warm and fuzzy as you would think, which I thought was interesting. I'm curious to see where the friendship's going to go in future books. But she basically gets kind of railroaded into managing this local paranormal museum, and she herself is a disbeliever, I would say overall, or she's kind of open to the idea but not super into it. And she's like, okay, I can do this for now. But she kind of falls in love with the museum, and of course someone is found murdered at the museum, kicking off the mystery. What I liked about this was the paranormal museum. There's lots of fun legends and like kind of spooky vibes, making this a really great spooky season read. I liked Maddie a lot. I found her friends interesting. She has one friend, Adele, who is a very like dramatic, over-the-top, loud personality, but I kind of love her. I'm interested in the romantic relationship with this. I thought it was kind of unique, especially for cozy. Had a more unique premise in terms of what he does and stuff. So not your typical police officer detective romance, which I liked. And I'm just curious about where this is going to go. I think there's a lot of great kind of groundwork the author did with this one, and I really enjoyed the theme. I think it's so unique and fun. And there is a ghost detecting cat, as you can see here on the cover, which is pretty unique. So I really enjoyed this. I thought the mystery was solid and I had a good time with it. I finally read Hounding a Killer by Callie E. Benjamin. I just cracked and got it on Audible one day because my library never ended up getting the book, unfortunately, and I loved this. I love this series so much. It was just as good as the first book in the series, which I really loved. Our main character is Priscilla, or Pris, and she has a bloodhound named Bailey, and Bailey is actually the star of a children's book series that Pris is writing, which is really fun. So it's kind of a bookish cozy, very dog-heavy cozy, and in this one, it's like a big fair, and it's on this estate of a very wealthy man who's recently died. His heir is in town, and he's not the nicest person. He disappears. There's a bag of money that's found. Lots of interesting aspects. And this one had a really good reveal. I thought all of this really built up well. This was my first time listening to it on audio for the series, and I really enjoyed it. Bailey is just the greatest, one of my favorite dog characters in a cozy, and I just love Callie E. Benjamin / Valerie Burns writing. I think she's a phenomenal writer. I really need to look into more of her series because I know she has more as Valerie Burns. And yeah, I would really recommend it. I thought it was a great mystery. I think the author does plots very well. I feel like her plots are always super layered and unique and interesting with lots of different facets, and that's what really shines to me, as well as the characters in this, because Pris and Bailey are just an adorable team. I love them. Catch Me If You Candy by Ellie Alexander. This was a phenomenal Halloween read. I mean, come on now, look at this. This is a 5-star read for me. Our main character in this is Jules. She runs a bake shop called Tort in Ashland, Oregon. This is what the Ashland Mystery Fest is actually kind of based around, which is so cool to have like walked around Ashland, Oregon. And in this one, there is a Halloween parade. Lots of people are dressing up as well as pets. There's a focus on like animal actors and like stuff in this, which is really cool. And one of Jules' mother's friends gets a mysterious message in this mahjong board that she bought recently from like an antique shop. And it hints at something happening that's quite bad that ends up happening at the Halloween festival, and now Jules is trying to hunt down a killer. I love this. I love this so much. Definitely read this series in order. The characters are so built upon, like there's so much development for not just the main characters but the cast of characters that are reoccurring, like her employees and stuff, so you will miss out if you don't read these in order, I would say. I loved this. I mean, this had so many fun Halloween vibes. There was a lovely scene where they were like, I think around a lake and had like a post-Halloween like festivity night, which was really creepy for like the adults with like ghost stories and stuff. That was fun. I love the descriptions of the Halloween parades, and all of the sweets and treats they were giving out were so delicious. Double Grudge Donuts by Ginger Bolton. This was the next in the Deputy Donut Mystery series for me, and I just loved this. Our main character is Emily in this series. She runs Deputy Donut, which is a donut shop with her father-in-law. There's kind of a complicated story there. I won't go too much into it, but I love this series. It's one of my favorite series. It is such a fun foodie cozy. There's an arts festival. This one takes place in late summer, and our parents are really active in this one because they're both very musically inclined. There's a bagpiper around town stirring up trouble who ends up getting murdered, and there's a very distinctive weapon found on him when his body is discovered, which kicks off the mystery. I think this series has some really wonderful mysteries. They're always well thought out. I love the seasonal descriptions in these. There's a lot of cozy vibes throughout this. Add all of that on top of the drama of Emily preparing to get married in this book. So there is just some really sweet sentimental scenes. I feel like at the end of each book there's some really sweet moments with the characters and the subplots that develop throughout it that I end up loving. Like the wedding at the end of this one, I was just like, my goodness, I love this series. I'm really excited to continue it. I also read The Lost Gargoyle of Paris by Gigi Pandian. This is a novella in her Accidental Alchemist series, which is quickly becoming a fast favorite of mine, and it's my personal favorite from her, although that's a very hard choice because she's got some great ones. This one involves our main character Zoe Faust, who is an accidental alchemist, and her gargoyle sidekick Dorian, which is just amazing. The setting for this is usually in Portland, Oregon, but they actually travel to Paris in this one because these pages from Victor Hugo's like diary have been found, and there's a description of like gargoyles, and they're worried about it getting into the wrong hands or if it's a forgery potentially. They're trying to like figure things out with it, and then a heist occurs. Very fun. The ending for this, it was so satisfying. I loved the ending for this. I listened to this on audio. I really love the narrator for this series on audio, and Dorian is a hoot. He is such a fun character. He's kind of morally gray at times, and I really love that about him because it's kind of a contrast to Zoe, who is very much like a good person and like, you know, wants to do things above board, and Dorian's not as afraid to maybe do things a little less above board. And I love their dichotomy. There's some great food descriptions. The Paris setting for this one was lovely, as well as all the Notre Dame references, of course, and I love this. I love this series a lot. I can't wait to continue reading this series, which I feel like I keep saying, but I had a lot of good series this month that I've been reading for a while, most of these, so I feel like I just can't wait to continue them. I really enjoy them. I also read The Spook in the Stacks by Eva Gates. This is a Lighthouse Library mystery. I have read book 1, I think, in this series, but I jumped a few ahead so I could read this one in time for Halloween because it has a Sleepy Hollow theme to it, which is so incredible. This is a North Carolina cozy. It is set on the Outer Banks, and the library is actually in a lighthouse, which is really fun. Our main character is Lindsay. She's a librarian there, and they're actually talking to this man named Jay, who is a wealthy benefactor looking to donate this rare book collection, and they're really hoping to get it for their library, of course. Well, unfortunately, he is murdered on the premises, and this leads up to a lot of drama. She's trying to figure out the murder mystery, of course. There's a lot of incidents that are kind of Sleepy Hollow-esque, like fog and like horse hooves, like she can hear horses walking about, which kind of unnerve her. And there's some, I love the Sleepy Hollow references in this. I loved it. I mean, I read Sleepy Hollow this month as well, so I'm on a Sleepy Hollow kick. This was really fun. I think I gave this 4 stars. My only like minor critique for this series is I feel like the main character's a little flat. I don't know. I just don't, like, if you asked me to describe Lindsay, I'd be able to tell you, of course, she's a lighthouse librarian. She's, you know, kind of on the quiet, like more thoughtful academic side, but like I couldn't really tell you a whole lot about her. I feel like other characters in this series really jump off the page a lot more than the main character, and I still really enjoy it. The setting is great, the other characters are great, the mystery's great, so it doesn't take away from it too much, but I'm just hoping over time as I read more from the series, maybe I'll get more of a sense of Lindsay as a character. But otherwise, you can't beat the Sleepy Hollow vibes in this. This was phenomenal. I loved the bookish Sleepy Hollow vibes. I loved all the different kind of Halloween type celebrations they were doing throughout this. They had a Halloween children's event at the library, which was really cute, and I had a really good time with it. Murder at the Pumpkin Pageant by Darcy Hannah. Of course, I've read a lot of Halloween cozies this month. This was a 5-star read for me. This is also a lighthouse setting, except it's a bake shop inside the lighthouse. Our main character in this is also, oh no, I'm so sorry. So the main character in this was actually Lucy. I got her name confused. This character is Lindsay. Man. I'm getting so confused now. They both are in lighthouses. Main characters start with an L. Oh boy. Anyways, Lindsay Bakewell is our main character in this. I really love her. She's got a lot of heart and soul to her, and her family is really great. She's got a great cast of characters surrounding her. In this one, her friend Kennedy, who is an influencer, gets her to agree to a live stream with ghost hunters at her lighthouse on Halloween night. And of course, during the live stream, they stumble across a body, which was not part of the plan. This one went in so many interesting directions. I mean, we're talking some local legends about the Great Lakes, because this takes place in Michigan. We're talking some amazing Halloween scenes with costume parties and like contests. I just loved this book so much. This is such a great series. It is one of my favorite food-centric cozies. I really love it. I love Wellington here. He is the Newfoundland who is the star of the series as far as I'm convinced. I would recommend reading the series in order. You get a lot of subplots that build with the characters. And yeah, this one had so many fun spooky vibes. And we were talking lighthouse hauntings, ghost hunters, Halloween costume contests, and meals, festive pumpkin desserts. I mean, it was a really great read. I really had a good time with it, and the mystery for this, I was actually pretty gobsmacked by the reveal. I was super shocked, and it was a very intense reveal for the characters too. I was like, get out of there, get out of there. But it was really good. Next, I did read 2 classics for my Halloween reading vlog. I read Halloween Party by Agatha Christie and The Legend of Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irving. This was my first time actually reading the original. I've, of course, like many of us, been exposed to pop culture retellings of this, but I really enjoyed this. It was super dark and creepy. Washington Irving describes the countryside and the nature and the autumnal vibes beautifully. Like, his descriptions were great. I loved how he described people in general. Like, the language was just so vivid. Yeah, I would give this 5 stars. I also really loved Halloween Party. I would give this 4.5 stars. Not my all-time favorite Agatha Christie, but very fun, great seasonal read. Basically, we have a Halloween party for like preteens, teenagers, and a mystery writer who's actually going to be there. She's very well known. I think her name is I don't know how to say it. Eridine Oliver? It's a very unique name. I need to look it up. I can't remember at this point. But I really enjoyed this. The Halloween party setting was great. Lots of spooky references. And a girl at this party, Joyce, ends up boasting about having witnessed a murder. And later that day, she is murdered herself, possibly to conceal the identity of the murderer that maybe she witnessed. And Hercule Poirot is involved in the mystery. It's a great mystery. I mean, I haven't had a disappointment with Agatha Christie yet. I'm beginning to think I probably never will, because I love her writing so much. It's just so beautiful. And Hercule Poirot, just the dialogue, his wit comes across so well in these. And I really enjoyed watching the David Suchet movie version of this for Halloween. It was a fun evening and just a great way to enjoy Halloween, in my opinion. So for thrillers, we have a few here. I have You Belong Here by Megan Miranda, which is probably my favorite of the month. This one has an academic setting, which was perfect for fall. Our central character in this is Beckett. She is the mother of a daughter, and her daughter is actually heading off to college to Beckett's alma mater, which most parents might be excited about, but Beckett is not, because her Virginia hometown, it's this mountainous hometown, like very small town, carries a lot of secrets and a lot of grudges against her because something happened during her college years to her roommate, and a lot of people suspect that Beckett didn't reveal everything she knew about that night. So her daughter going there is making her very nervous because she's not sure the town will accept her, and that seems to be the case. But Delilah's determined to go there anyway. She gets a full scholarship, and Beckett, you know, she's not going to stop her daughter. Her daughter's an adult, and things start to happen. Beckett gets more concerned. There are a lot of creepy, like, college traditions. One called the howling, which is like kind of like a hazing situation, I would say. But I had a great time with this thriller. I couldn't put it down. This was definitely my favorite thriller read of the month. I had a phenomenal time. I mean, it's interesting to see Beckett's maternal instincts. She's just so protective of her daughter, but trying to respect her daughter's space because her daughter is, you know, a new adult. And she's also trying to protect her because there's a whole lot going on campus. Things seem to be happening maybe again. And I loved the tension. You get to read some scenes from the past in this. And I really enjoyed reading the scenes leading up to what happened when Beckett was at college herself. That was really interesting. So this was a 5-star thriller for me. I was actually really shocked by the ending in some ways. Shocked. So it didn't shock me completely, but it definitely shocked me in some ways enough to be a shocking thriller that will definitely make a recommendations list for me in the future. And I had a really good time with this. I loved the academic setting and the mountainous town. I thought it was really chilling, and I felt like the town really came to life very beautifully in this book. So Everyone Is Lying to You by Jo Piazza. This is a social media influencer thriller, and I really ate it up. I loved it. We have 2 main characters in this. Lizzie and Bex were best friends in college. Something happened and they went their separate ways as adults. And now Bex is this trad wife type influencer. She is very famous, very well known, and she invites Lizzie to this big influencer conference, promising her a big scoop. And Lizzie's a writer and she's pretty desperate for good work at this point. She's not doing well with her career. So she agrees to come out. She's also curious to see if maybe they'll be able to resolve or get answers about what happened all those years ago. And then Bex disappears and her husband is found murdered. And Lizzie has to question, did her friend do it? What were the motives? What happened? I absolutely adored the ending for this. This one definitely had like a very big like shock factor for me. I really enjoyed it. I liked the commentary on social media and the dark sides of it. I find that to be very fascinating and disturbing. I really loved the emphasis on female friendships in this. That's a strong theme that I really love in mysteries and thrillers, and I really was coming through in this book, and I would definitely be interested to check out more from this author. I feel like they really did the legwork and research for this, and there was just so much thought put into each character, and I really enjoyed the ending for this. It really left me shocked, and I enjoyed that. One that I didn't love, I ended up DNFing about, I think like 150 pages in, was Into the Water by Paula Hawkins, and I thought I liked The Girl on the Train, and I actually ended up checking my Goodreads, and I didn't. I think I gave it 2 stars. So I think I've determined that Paula Hawkins and I are probably just not a match. I find her writing to be very long-winded, I think would be a good term. It feels like unnecessarily long. Like I was over 150 pages in and it felt like we had barely established what was already on the back. So we hadn't really delved into more of the plot than what's on the back, and I was just kind of like, okay, are we going to get somewhere? But I feel like she developed the story and these local legends. There's these girls who are basically found, girls and women who are drowned in this local river, and it seems to be a pattern, and that's what the story kind of centers around. And our main character is an aunt, and she comes back for her niece after her mother is found in the river. And I really liked the multiple points of views. They all had very unique voices. I felt like the setting and the local legends were just coming to life off the paper, but it just was such a long-winded, like very slow burn, and I just couldn't get into it, so that's why I ended up DNFing this. And last but not least, we have Party of Liars by Kelsey Cox. This was a really fun one. I read this in my Halloween vlog, which I linked above. It's not a Halloween thriller necessarily, but it's a big party and it's on a cliffside manor that's been renovated with creepy local legends. It had really great spooky vibes, which I loved. So Sophia's father is throwing her a big Sweet 16 bash. Her stepmother Danny will be there, and she is kind of recovering from some postpartum like depression and some different issues. She's recently given birth. She's having a very rough time of it. And then we have Danny's mom, who is really struggling as well with a lot of things, feeling very envious of the house and the stepmother. and we have her best friend who we're reading from. So we have lots of different perspectives we're reading from. There is a local legend about a mother who comes and swoops up people into the night, because this is on a creepy cliffside. So the setting for this was priceless. Very creepy, very kind of gothic feeling. And of course, someone is found dead at the party. So that's kind of our premise. Very like fun thriller setup, nothing super unique, but really well delivered. I really enjoyed reading all the different perspectives, seeing where all these women end up at the end, and I really just had a good time with this. It was a page turner for me. I couldn't put it down. I had a good time with it. And that is everything for me today, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I do post new mystery content every week on my channel, especially within the cozy mystery, and thriller genres. So if you like anything with a mystery at the heart of it, talk about it here, as well as doing cozy reading vlogs. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!